So naturally, in my previous post, I was defensive. But that happens when you don't take the time to really know what's transpiring. In understanding the error of my actions, I have to first acknowledge the rooted issues, which means racially profiling a group of individuals based on their appearance. And on top of that, publicizing it on a platform where others could be hurt by it and others were hurt from it. The feeling of anger and hurt about this situation is very familiar to me, especially being a black woman. So I should definitely empathize more with being racially profiled. On top of that, the climate that this country is in, that didn't do nothing but add fuel to a wildfire that we still fighting to contain. I'm not sure if these particular individuals that were on the plane are aware of my actions by now, but either way, I would love to apologize personally to them first, for my insensitive and ignorant behavior. Yet, I still would like to apologize to all of you who were aware and offended by my actions. Sadly, I had no knowledge of the tragedy in New Zealand until after my video, which doesn't in any way excuse my behavior. I already know that. Nothing excuses it. But it opened up my eyes to a matter of ignorance as a habit that usually invokes hate. I refuse to teach, spread, or be an advocate for hatred. I just want to make people laugh. Bear with me. I'm still learning. And when I say, still learning, I was unaware of Sikhs as well.
Welcome back. This is brain fart. What do you know what episode this is? Oh, volume 3, episode 18. Wow, that's a lot. We 18 episodes in. Volume 3, episode 18 of the Super Flow Bro podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Marcus Flowers, aka Flo, at one Marcus Flowers on all social media platforms, and I am joined by
y'all know who it is. Metro Meta, the one who rises above all. He who shall not be named. I'm so excited to get into this.
Yeah, man. So we're I know we're changing our schedule just a tad bit. So Super Flow Bros and the Dust Off the Cartridge podcast will both be dropping on Thursdays from now on. It's just easier. Well, Thursdays for now. We'll see how it goes in the upcoming months with spring and all that coming on. Actually, we're recording on a Wednesday, so first of all, happy first day of spring, Meta. How has I know we're only about 18 hours in. How has spring been treating you so far?
Well, today I went outside without a jacket and it was cold. So, not all there yet.
How cold is it out there though?
It's not too bad. Like you can still walk around without a jacket, just a little rainy.
Oh, so it's raining out there?
It was lightly raining a few minutes ago, but it was just like cloudy, like it might rain.
Oh, so you got rid of the pollen got washed away then, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's good, but let's jump right in. Sorry about that. At the front porch, no longer waiting. Toy Story 4 trailer. Did you get a chance to see this?
I did.
So what are your first thoughts or reactions about it?
It was really good. It was really interesting, these past few months when they've been sending us teasers and stuff, I didn't really get people didn't really get where they were going with this story, and they didn't get why they had the spoon thing. After seeing an actual full trailer, I can see the pieces and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. You saw Toy Story 3, correct?
Yes.
So I'm actually excited to see where this franchise goes. I am interested in the story. I also don't get why. Well, I get why Woody is like a Boy Scout when it comes to like protecting his owner and making sure his owner's happy. But I did like how I did like how they made the spoon actually not like being alive. I of course you never think about things like that. But a spoon not wanting to be a toy makes absolutely complete sense. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, and it definitely, honestly, having the spoon not want to be alive, it's sort of a darker tone for a kids movie, and it will really be interesting to see how they play around with that theme.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But moving on, and what probably is one of the best decisions in modern cinematic history, the Marvel directors considering moving the Thanos snap. So, Morgan, I know you didn't watch, I know you didn't see Infinity War, but are you familiar with the Thanos snap?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the Avengers team they considered delaying the Thanos snap until Endgame. Do you think that makes sense?
Um, from what I know of the story, I think honestly putting it at the end of Infinity War was the best move. I know starting out in game with the snap would have been very dramatic, but without the snap, I don't know how they would have ended. It just would have made Infinity War really anticlimactic. It would have been Thanos gets a gauntlet and then he walks away, and I think that really would have been like an anticlimactic way to end the movie. Like, oh, Thanos walked away, and now I gotta wait a whole year just to see him snap people away.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, so basically, so co-writer Stephen McFeely he recently revealed to Empire that the snap was being considered as a possible in-game moment instead. He quotes, "We had so much story in those early drafts of Infinity War that if anything, we thought we maybe shouldn't do the snap until the end of the Act One of Endgame." So, just to give it context, that would mean if the snap didn't happen until the first act of Endgame, that probably would have been a 6 hour movie. But cooler heads definitely prevailed because head honcho over at Marvel, not head honcho, one of the co-director Joe Russo, he said, "For Thanos at the end of the movie, this is a part of his hero's journey. We once again put him face to face with the only thing that he cared about, where he has to own up to the emotional cost of what he has done in the movie." Which making complete sense. So basically, Morgan. So at the end of Endgame, at the end of Infinity War, we see Thanos just chilling, like he has like his armor off. He's on the field, looking into the sunset, and he looks relaxed and peaceful. Avengers Endgame has April 26th, so it is actually the second most watched trailer ever in its first 24 hours, and it amassed nearly 270 million views on its first day alone. So, very dope. Next, moving on. Morgan, will you be seeing the film Us?
I will not.
Okay, so we have Jordan Peele, who is actually an excellent just horror film director, an excellent creative mind who has just introduced the world to a type of horror or type of genre that we necessarily or have not been used to seeing before. And so he said that so he said basically it was basically a story that happened to him in the ninth grade that made him the horror guru he is today. He didn't reveal what it actually was, but if you are a classmate or former classmate of Jordan Peele, please let us know. Us, I am looking forward to seeing that. It looks great. I'm ready to be scared again. I usually see a horror film around this time of year. Last year it was The Quiet Place, so this year, us really looking forward to that. And
Also, wait, going back to Jordan
right,
Peele, Us is on track to outperform The Quiet Place in
really?
early tracking.
Well, yeah,
So,
that makes sense. Actually, so they did an advanced screening at the Howard Theater, and they are doing it tonight. And it was supposed to start at 5 p.m., but instead they have been swag surfing. The fraternities and sororities have been doing their strolls. They've had a party. DJs playing music. It is now 9:50 in Washington D.C. and they still have not played that movie yet. So, yeah, just a bit of context there.
that's
Uh,
Black Panther Part 2 right
for
there.
sure, for sure. But next up, so the GOAT is officially back. So comic books writer Jonathan Hickman is officially back where he's supposed to be. He is back under the Marvel Comics umbrella. He will be his latest comic will be coming out in June of this year. So basically, all they did to promote his return was just say Hickman, June 2019. I'm sold. If you are familiar with if you're unfamiliar with Jonathan Hickman, let me just do a quick rundown. So he is the writer of the Secret War 2, Shield, Fantastic Four, Avengers. He basically created the modern Marvel comic book universe that we have today. He has written about Da Vinci and all of them, and so it's just great that he's finally back home. He's back where he belongs, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be good. But that's not the only great return that is going on at Marvel. The man, the myth, the legend, James Gunn, stayed low, kept his head down, didn't make any problems for a couple of months, and secretly, under the veil of night, Disney tried to slide him in under the Fox deal, and now James Gunn is back for Guardians Volume 3, and he will be shooting Guardians Volume 3 after he is finished making the Suicide Squad movie for DC. DC has announced that it will be a reboot of Suicide Squad with many of the same characters. And Marcus, what amazing name did they come up with for this reboot?
I'm not sure who.
They went with Suicide Squad. They didn't change the name. They just
Okay.
they rebooted it with the same name.
Are you surprised that James Gunn is coming back to Marvel?
I've talked a lot with a lot of people on Twitter about this. It kind of, from his perspective, it's kind of interesting. I'm surprised that Disney asked him back, just because I felt like they wanted that to be a definitive choice. On his side, I'm not surprised he went back. Money's money, and of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy, that whole volume franchise, that's his baby. So nobody else could have filled in his shoes. And we even heard that when they tried to tap the director for Thor Ragnarok, which had a similar theme for Guardians, and he said no. So nobody else could have filled his shoes. And if you're James Gunn, you're coming back and you're finishing your baby. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, for sure. And it just goes to prove, well, I don't think James Gunn should have been fired in the first place. Do you think this is the kind of a changing of the era? Well, not changing of the era, but do you think that cancel culture is gone, is over with?
I don't think it was ever like a thing. Like, just in general, I've as we look at many of the people who we claim to have been canceled, they're still out there walking around, except for a select few.
For sure, for sure. I completely agree. I think cancel culture was more of a farce and more of a social media thing. It was not a real thing. Although there has been pressure put on certain individuals. If we're looking at the James Gunn situation, it's just the best thing to do would be to just keep your head down, lay low, don't say anything stupid, and you'll get the bag. And not only did James Gunn get the bag, he got more bags on top of that. So not
Yeah,
only
he's gonna be the only. Is he the only director to work on both Marvel and DC movies?
I believe so. I'm not too sure. No, I think he is. But
Yeah.
so just imagine having $1 billion franchise going to another company's one of their most successful films and then going back to the franchise. Like that sounds insane, but he did it. This just continues to prove that you can never keep the white man down.
And if he keeps up, if Suicide Squad is good and he has enough energy, honestly, there's a good chance James Gunn could be the head of all things, both DC and Marvel, and help guide both of those franchises.
He won't be the head of Marvel just because they have Kevin Feige and he's been doing an excellent job. But I could see him. I could definitely see him as the head of DC, even though DC is getting away from a connected universe, which makes complete sense. All right, in more DC news, Ezra Miller is leaving the Flash. So, in other words, bye, get out. So Ezra Miller, he clearly does not have an understanding of what the Flash truly is. He wants a more Zack Snyderish, darker tone, depressed Flash character when that is not who Barry Allen is. He's full of laughter. He's full of hope. So to combat the Flash and being up tempo and on beat, he has decided to write a Flash script with one of the most, I don't want to call him insane, but this guy is nuts. He has decided to work with Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison, who is slightly crazy when it comes to the comic book writing. When it comes to writing, he's a maniac. I definitely see why Ezra would want to work with him. But basically, if you're DC and Warner Brothers right now, if you are not Momoa or Gal Gadot, you are not safe.
Yeah, especially when let's be honest, there's a really better Flash just waiting in the wings on the CW. Like you might want to. This might be a moment where you might want to pull a James Gunn and just put your head down and be quiet.
And Ezra Miller's Flash couldn't even run. Like he was terrible at running. But yeah, moving on.
That's something that. Nah, but like that's something that making running look cool is a talent. They don't say it, but it's a talent.
I guess he did not have that talent though. All right, so moving on. So Amazon Prime Video or Amazon Video is really trying to stick their foot in the game when it comes to original content. They will be having a free Meek documentary, which documents the court case of Meek Mill. If you're unfamiliar, Meek Mill has been in the justice system for about 10 years now, a little over a decade, and so it's just documenting that journey and getting his thoughts and talking to the people around him, and just like the movement that Meek has started when it comes to justice reform and prison reform, and it's super dope. It's inspiring. What do you think about it?
It is. It's very interesting. It's gonna be, I think, a very good documentary. I do like a lot of Meek's music. Hopefully he can make more music, and also I'd love to see other biopics and other documentaries for other artists and stuff like that.
For sure. So that's it with that's it for the front porch. Let's hop into the living room. We're talking about all things tech in here, and let's get right to it. We have streaming beef. Apple versus Spotify. Everybody knew this day was coming, and now it's finally here. Apple has shot back at Spotify. It's been insane to watch. We have Apple saying, "Hey, we're not the bad guys; they're the bad guys." We have Spotify saying, "Hey, we're the bad guys." We have Spotify saying, "They're the bad guys; we're not. We're the good guys." And they're trying. What I find the most interesting point about this is that they're both trying to have the moral high ground, but the bottom line is they just both want the most profit. So if you are unfamiliar with this, so Spotify has accused Apple of not updating their services or updating their app timely, and Apple is saying we have done that. It's been Spotify who has been slacking on their end. Morgan, how do you just feel about all of this?
For me, I'm sort of on Spotify side because the fact that you can't make purchases on the iPhone is really annoying. And every single time I come home, I have to teach mom how to go to a website and do it purchases for because she can't do it on our iPhone. So Android for the win.
It's just you can't purchase through the Spotify app, which I get to an extent, just because why would Apple want to promote one of their rivals? But at the same time, you do have to have a fair playing ground. I think this is all stupid. The people who suffer the most are the consumers at the end of the day. And although profit is the most important thing to these companies, they still need to realize that the consumers are human beings and they just care about the product that they're getting and if they get it good and if it is easy for them to use. And just a small note on just about the Apple front. They have released their new their iPad Mini and their MacBook Pro and the new AirPods. It looks a lot of the same as the last generation. I'm not too excited about it, and it just goes back to what I've been saying about the Apple company for the past few weeks, is that they have to become innovative or they're going to have a slow death. But moving on, so we're in an era where it seems like scientists have not watched movies like Jurassic Park or Jaws or any other movie that where scientists try to play God. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just read this for you. And Morgan, I want you to tell me your first reaction about this. Scientists bring woolly mammoth cells back to life.
Yeah, this is low key what we've been going for the past like hundred couple of years. I remember my junior year of high school. I transferred cells from it was like a fish or something, to microorganisms to make glow in the dark living night lives. Like this is the ultimate goal of science, is to be God. That's the goal of science. That's fact.
Okay, so to put this, I'm reading from the article. Put simply, the scientists took the heart of a dormant but damaged mammoth cell and swapped them into living mouse reproductive cells in a process called nuclear transfer. Against all odds, the cells began to wake back up, bringing a tiny bit of a woolly mammoth back to life. So, if that doesn't freak you out, that definitely freaks me out.
That's minor science.
Because why would you want to bring a woolly mammoth back to life? I feel like I feel like scientists aren't thinking about common sense when you have a woolly mammoth that has been dead for centuries on centuries on centuries. Why would you want to replicate that animal, that creature, into a completely different Earth that is definitely different from when they were alive? And Morgan, correct me if I was mistaken, the woolly mammoth was around during the Ice Age. So why would you want to recreate it when the Earth has never been hotter? And we don't know how a woolly mammoth would act in this environment, which means they need to stop. This literally is how the world is going to end.
Marcus,
with scientists,
Marcus.
if it's not recreated animals trying to kill us, it's going to be the robots. So it's either animals or robots.
Calm down, Marcus. First of all, calm down. There were woolly mammoths around during ancient Egypt. They're not that far down. And also, this is it's such minor science. Like it's really mostly like it's a miracle, but it's mostly fluff. They're not bringing the woolly mammoth back. And they even say in the article it's years from being able to clone. And the reason why they're doing this is for experimentation purposes, in which if we can mimic and recreate woolly mammoth cells this way, we can do it with other cells, such as human hearts, human lungs, allowing for us to regrow limbs and allowing for us to give people who are amputees and don't have working organs a better chance at life with a brand new organ without having to have to take them from dead bodies.
So when a woolly mammoth killed you, don't say I did not try to warn you.
Woolly mammoths.
Don't say no.
No. You're talking about a species of animals that wiped off the. You're talking about a species of animal that were wiped off the face of the earth by your ancestors and a dog, and you're scared of them?
You're trying.
We have guns now.
You are trying to make it seem like recreating cells should just be as simple as brushing your teeth. No, it should not be that simple. Because, hey, guess what? Here is the alarm. Here is the panic button. This is me pushing it. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is me pushing the panic button and say, hey guys, let's stop. Let's not try to recreate creatures from the past because, hey, guess what? They're going to kill us. See, you don't have a rational...
Marcus, you're scared of an ancient animal. An ancient animal? It's a woolly mammoth. We have guns.
You need to have a rational fear of these things, okay? You can't, let's say you shoot it and it lives. Then what? Then what?
It's not gonna live.
You say this so confidently, like you know it's true.
You're acting like woolly mammoths have armor that can take gunfire.
They have fur. We don't know how thick that fur is.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
We do.
All right, moving on. So we're heading back into the tech space. So the iPhone 11 may have 3 cameras, and they're just trying to. We've talked about a couple of the 3 camera cell phones that will be releasing, and they're just trying to fight with competitors. Not really much to say about this, but I will say instead it feels like with the iPhone that came out 10 years ago, it seemed like Apple was on the cutting edge of things, but it seems that now that the competition has caught up, and I would say even surpassed them, it feels like they're trying to play catch up. What they need to do is I don't know if you saw the Steve Jobs movie with starring Ashton Kutcher, but they need to do a whole rebrand and say this is what we need to do from now on. Strip everything down and say this is how we do it. Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
Nah, I mean with the 3 cameras, that's gonna be like standard or fair. You can see that on the number 1 phone right now, the Samsung Galaxy 10. It got like 4 of those on. Like we're just gonna have to, as photo technology and making photos becomes a bigger and bigger part of the camera of selling a flagship phone, we're just gonna have to deal with the fact that our phones are just about to come with 6 different cameras on the back. That's just it is what. But to be fair, it will be good. There is a movie on Netflix that we've talked about before that was filmed with an iPhone, so it's bringing high level production equipment down so that anyone can create. But at the same time, your phone's gonna look ugly. That's just facts.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, but moving on. So it seems like for the first time ever, tech and government are in sync when it comes to scooter data. When it comes to scooter data, which means that is trouble for the consumer. So basically, the companies who implement scooters are now working with. There's actually, let me rephrase that. So, Passport is a mobility management startup and has partnered with Charlotte, Detroit, and Omaha to create a framework to apply parking principles, data analysis, and move to the plethora of shared micro mobility services. So, for many cities, the only option has been to impose bans, fees, or permit systems intended to cap the number of scooters allowed on their streets. Passport CEO Bob Joachim told TechCrunch via email. While this allows cities to temporarily control scooter deployment, there are greater benefits to achieve by aligning with new mobility providers. With Passport, those cities will be able to easily analyze scooter usage, parking patterns, and curb utilization. Passports also enable cities to implement real-time curbside pricing and payments and better management scooter placement. The idea is that cities and mobility providers will work better together if there are economic incentives in place. So basically what it's saying, you will be able to get ticketed and speed tickets when you're using these scooters. So basically you'll be under the city rules when you're using a scooter. I think this is a pro and a bad. One of the good things about these scooters is the independence that you feel from them, that you're necessarily not tied down to like the law. You still have to have like decent common sense, but it just feels like another way where the government will be trying to take a hold of your life, just because by now you have to realize that your data is already out there in the universe. It doesn't matter. Even if you try to protect it, somebody somewhere has your data. This just seems like a way that it seems like the way where the government will have access to not only your personal records, but they will also have access to your data, which opens Pandora's box.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough line to cross, but at the same time, we got to do something about those scooters. People just leave them out. People are getting hurt. Like, something got to be done. And they need to change the color. The colors are ugly.
All right. So that is the living room. Let's hop into the kitchen. So, recently, one of my good friends had his first child. It is a boy, and my good friend, he was a baseball player. He played all the way to the collegiate level, and at the collegiate level, he got a shoulder injury where he just couldn't. Well, I don't want to say he couldn't continue to play at a high level, because he did, but his injury deterred sports teams and minor league teams from looking at him. But when this news dropped, I immediately texted him and said, as soon as your son starts walking, we're throwing him on the mound. We're not playing around. He is going to be the best baseball player ever. So if you do not know what I'm talking about, Mike Trout, who arguably is the best baseball player right now, he has signed a lucrative $450 million contract for 12 years with the Anaheim Angels. So, Morgan, what are some things you think you can buy with $450 million?
I mean, you give me $1 million, I could probably get my whole life in check. So, okay, I'm just saying.
With $450 million, you can buy an NHL team. You can buy you can buy a quarter of McDonald's franchises. You can also start a Wingstop. You can do you can end homelessness. Let's not let's not try to forget that. So star center fielder Mike Trout, and the Los Angeles Angels, my mistake, are finalizing the largest contract in professional sports history, a 12-year deal worth more than $430 million that will smash previous records and can keep the greatest player of his generation with the Angels for the remainder of his career. So the $430 million plus total is more than 30% larger than the $330 Bryce Harper signed, and it beats Canelo Alvarez's deal with DAZN by more than $65 million. Crazy thing about this, Trout is only 27 years old. He was due to be a free agent the following season, and he expected to set off a frenzied bidding war among the largest marketed teams in the game. But his home team, the Angels, said, nah, that's not going to happen. Let's just cut that. Let's get the deal done. And what I appreciate about Mike Trout is that as the greatest player of this generation, he knew his value, and he saw what Bryce Harper received. He saw what Nolan Arenado received and was like, hey, I'm better than both of them. Bring me the cash. And the Angels said, hey, we're here. Here you go. Any thoughts?
I mean, get that money.
All right. Great content on the Super Flow Bros from Metro Meta.
You know, I don't pay attention to sports that much.
All right, moving on. So the Alliance, the American Alliance, had a football league, had a conversation with Colin Kaepernick. So a person with knowledge of the conversation tells the Associated Press that the new Alliance of American Football spoke with Colin Kaepernick during his development about joining the league. Kaepernick wanted $20 million or more to consider playing with the league that had debuted last weekend. The person spoke on a condition of anonymity. Sorry about that. There's that because neither side has publicly acknowledged such talks. So basically, this is another thing of just knowing your worth. And with Colin Kaepernick, if he would have taken that deal, he probably would have been the richest person in the richest player in football. Just thinking about his undisclosed settlement with the NFL, he probably, which is already $80 million, so just another $20 million would just sweeten the pot. We're not sure about that number, so once again, kudos to Colin Kaepernick for knowing his worth.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. I mean, getting a name like that would really bring that league up another level. So I'm sure if they actually are talking to Colin, they'll keep an eye out to see if they can scrape that money together.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're out of the kitchen. We're in the dining room. So a lot has been said about this already, but we will speak about this on our platform. Morgan, are you familiar with Jess Hilarious?
No.
So
is she funny?
So Jess Hilarious is a comedian who rose to power, who rose to stardom through social media, through grinding it out on social media with her funny sketches and routines, and it landed her working alongside with Lil Rel on his show. It has escaped my mind what the title of that show is. Let me look it up real quick. So, oh man,
I'm not familiar with any of her. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of her skits.
Yeah, it's all right. She is to her credit, she is a very charismatic, a very funny individual, but her actions were not funny. So she was boarding a flight when and she was Insta snapping or doing a live. I think she was on live. No, she wasn't on live. She was just recording a story. where she zoomed in on four Sikh individuals, and they had head wraps, and she said she was basically fearful for her life, and she wanted to, as she didn't want to ride on the same plane as them. Since then, she's been saying she went from "I don't care what y'all think, blah blah blah, I'm gonna do me, forget them," to "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. This was my fault. I should not have done that. I love everybody. I have Muslims in my family, so I don't hate them." So basically, she's running through what typical police officers say. Police officers and white male politicians say when they make a mistake. She was fearful of her life. She has this type of person in her personal life. So how could she be racist or Islamophobic? This I don't want to. From my point of view, I don't want to cancel Jess Hilarious because it seems like in her latest apology, it did seem like she was very apologetic, and she just did not know the situation. She just did not know the severity of what she posted on social media. However, she is 27 years old, so I'm not giving her the benefit of the doubt about being ignorant, because when we're looking at statistics and data when it comes to terrorism in the United States, Morgan, when it comes to terrorism in the United States, who do you think are the main culprits? Do you think it is Sikh? Do you think
White
it is
people.
Muslim? Yes, it is a white male. So, if anything, instead of being fearful of Sikh, she should have been fearful of the white man with his family that was walking on the plane behind them, instead of trying to gain clout. Because when you're trying to gain clout doing outrageous things, not only is it dangerous, but it puts your professional life at risk, and it also
it doesn't come off well. It doesn't come off well. Just ask Shane Dawson.
Yeah, and it makes it seem like people have given you a platform, but you don't know how to responsibly handle it. So because of your actions, us as people, us as your audience, we have to take that away from you until you know how to properly handle yourself.
Yeah, it's just this goes down to, like I said earlier, it goes down to the same thing with people like Shane Dawson and the mess that he had to deal with this week. Is you need to think about what you're saying before you say it, especially if you're recording it, because what might sound funny or edgy in your head, as I continue to say, as many people continue to say, on the internet, there's no such thing as being ironic. You're just doing the thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's just it just really sucks because she is talented, but because you don't know how to properly handle yourself, we do have to take that platform away from you. It just says we have to be able to control our power as viewers, as content consumers. We have to make sure that, hey, you can't just do whatever with no consequences. And it would be something different if she was trying to put an education about that situation on it, but she wasn't. She was just being ignorant. And so we do have to, I don't want to say cancel her, but we do have to chill out on her and her antics from here on out.
Yeah, and come on, the Daily Show did an entire field piece on how Sikhs are not Muslims, and y'all still making this misconception.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on, Morgan, have you heard? Do you know who Daniel Caesar is?
No.
So
who is he?
Sorry about that. So Daniel Caesar is a R&B artist. He makes amazing music. He created the song "Get You" featuring her. So recently, before we get into this, these two tied together, which is why I have them back to back. Basically, think before you post on social media. I know this should not be it should be basic common sense at this time. Just like beware of strangers. Look both ways before you cross the street. Don't eat old food, and think before you post on the internet because it lives forever. So basically, R&B singer Daniel Caesar, he got on Instagram Live and he said one of the first words out of his mouth said, "I'm drunk, y'all." And so that right there, that tells me you're not in the right state of mind. And so when you get on Instagram Live and you're saying, "What's up? I'm drunk, y'all," that means you're about to say something problematic, and that probably means that I will like you a little less after you've done whatever you need to do. So Daniel Caesar, he said that I am paraphrasing this, but Daniel Caesar basically said that white people are the superior race, and if black people want to get on the same level as white people, we need to treat them nicer, and then they will be willing to let us up on the same level as them. And he also went on to say, I am an independent, I have my own company, I hire black people, I hire white people, but if we continue to be mean to white people, we will never be on the same level as them. And before I really give my thoughts about it, Morgan, how do you feel about this? Just since you're closer to Daniel Caesar's age, I feel like maybe you'll be able to give a little bit more context, just because when it comes to myself, who is, I don't want to say I'm too older than him, but I have experienced more life than him and more situations. So I feel like you being in a similar age bracket, you'd be able to give your thoughts and feelings about this.
I think it's a matter of, as we continue to say, knowing your worth, and it's a matter of understanding. And as somebody, you said he does R&B.
Yes, he does.
As somebody who does R&B, he should have a better understanding about the worth of both himself and his community. And it goes down to a lot of times when black individuals and black people have view whites as better than them, it goes back to they don't understand their culture. They don't understand their history. They don't understand that African Americans have been out here. They've been in their bag for the past, since humanity has been here. We made the pyramids. And if you're talking music alone, just in America, African Americans have contributed so much to this country that if you took us away, I don't even know what would be left of America. We made country music, we made rock and roll, we made R&B, we made rap, we made hip hop, and I don't know if you caught Hassan Minaj's video about hip hop, but it's a music genre so dangerous that there are tyrannical governments out there in the world scared of it, scared of what hip hop can do to their platform, and scared of how it affects their community. That's the power of black voices. That's the power of black minds and black thinking, that we're moving not just our own country, but also other countries. So for you to stand out there and be like, white people is better than us, and you're supposed to be an R&B rapper, somebody who's supposed to know at least the basic history of how African Americans have been affecting this country since day one, that to me alone says that you, sir, might not be qualified for what you are doing. And that's all I got to say on it.
For sure. I just want to add that he is he's being irresponsible. Once again, he's being irresponsible with his platform. It's forgot, and he's also and for him to speak about a situation that did not involve him, it seems like Morgan, did you see the movie? What was it called? What was the movie with Jamie Foxx? It was a Tarantino film. It was Jamie Foxx. He was a slave. It had Leonardo DiCaprio.
Django.
Did you see Django? That's not.
Yeah, we saw it together with Mom.
Okay, all right. So you know the part where the slave was holding onto his dead white master at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, that when Samuel L. Jackson was holding on to Leonardo DiCaprio at the end, that was basically what Daniel Caesar was doing. For no reason, nobody asked him to speak his mind about this, but he decided to do that anyway. Once again, that's very just dumb. But yeah, and he said, "Go ahead and cancel him." So that is what we are going to do. We are just following what you said. So if you
Going
say
back to
go ahead and cancel me, we're going to go ahead and cancel you.
Django, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Did
I
you see the
did.
trailer for that?
I did not know.
Yeah, it looks like a Tarantino film. It looks like a Tarantino film. Hopefully, it's good. Comes out in July, so
Right. Okay. All right. And last thing in the dining room, New Zealand automatic gun ban. So how dare the audacity of New Zealand to just skip thoughts and prayers and go right into new gun legislation? Like there was no we're thinking about the family, this is a tragedy. It was just, hey, this happened. You guys can't handle your toys. New gun laws in 10 days. I mean, how dare they? Can you believe this, Morgan? They completely just said, "Hey, forget all of that. Forget all the thoughts and prayers because guess what? Thoughts and prayers don't work. Since you grown adults can't handle your toys, we're taking them away." Morgan, that's how does that feel as an American to see a foreign government do something like that?
low
And
key
you
is
gotta
kind of
remember, you gotta
disrespectful.
remember, they're taking away your guns. So how does that feel to you?
Low key is kind of disrespectful. We've been out here having this conversation for like years, my whole life. My whole life we're having this conversation about guns, and they just do it in a couple days. They just do it in a couple of days. It's the same thing with Australia, that whole side of the world. That whole side of the world. Japan has strict gun laws. Like they just disrespecting the American brand.
Yeah, I just cannot believe that they skipped thoughts and prayers. Like they didn't even say that. They're just like, nah, new gun laws. We don't care. Man, I just crazy. But once again, 26th and Glencoe, we want to send our condolences to the families that were affected about the tragedy in New Zealand. But that's it. Grand opening, grand closing. Meta, you got this.
So, I don't know, Marcus, if you've been keeping track of the monumental mountain of content that comes out on Netflix on a daily basis at this point. But there's been a couple of shows that I've been enjoying. The first one of I've seen the first couple episodes was Love. It's like let me double check this, get this right. Uh, I've only seen the first two episodes, so it could get bad like close to the end. But it is called Love, Death, and Robots. That was pretty interesting for older viewers. That was pretty good. But my favorite show is called Dragon Prince, Marcus. Now there was a lot of hype coming out on this when it first came out. It was made by a lot of the creators from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it first season came out was pretty good. There was some mixed opinions on the animation. I didn't really mind it. And then the second season came out and it was amazing. It was beautiful and it felt like I was watching my favorite genre. I don't know if you could put Avatar and that show into a genre, but if you could, I feel like that'd be my favorite genre. It's super amazing. The characters are really, really funny. They're really, really interesting, and I love their arcs. It has a strong dedication to progressiveness that I know some people might find obnoxious, but to me seemed very appropriate for their world. They had gay couples. They've had various other characters with disabilities. People's favorite being a war general who is deaf and speaks in sign language, who is a boss. So it's just really, it's really good to see just the impact. And we talked about this before when they were attacking Netflix. Is it's good to see the impact of having streaming service like Netflix that is trying to pull away from having their traditional model of just having a bunch of content other people made and being like, no, we're making our own content and you're going to be here for our content, and just seeing how much money that they'll pour into just series and just seeing what they can do with it. They just announced earlier today that they were backing a short a movie short about a little girl with a black little girl with hair. I didn't get to read the full story, but it's very. I'm just very excited to see what Netflix is going to do in these next couple of years, especially with Disney's streaming service coming up. It's definitely going to heat up the game.
For sure, for sure. Thank you for that. So, pretty packed weekend so far. So, Super Flow Bros and Dust Off the Cartridge will be coming out today, which is Thursday. We're recording on Wednesday, so this is coming out Thursday. Friday, we have 2 more podcasts coming out. One of them is our Captain Marvel spoiler review, and we have a surprise for the second one. So, once again, make sure you are following us on Twitter at 26andG. Follow us on Instagram at 26 and Glencoe. Like our Facebook page at 26 and Glencoe Media Network. Follow us on YouTube at 26 and Glencoe Media Network. Push the alert notifications so that you know whenever we have new content coming up. We put content up weekly, so make sure you're checking out for that. Like, comment, subscribe. Anything to add, Morgan?
Y'all remember to rise above.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.